we've got a box, so you know what that means. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. Now, I've finally got myself a sharpening system that I can sharpen my wood turning chisels on. I've been pontificating over this for the last few months, ever since I got my lathe, and I've been reading all your comments. I've been listening to a lot of advice, talking to some professional wood turners, and seeing what the best option to go for what would be and what my budget would allow. And for the features and the price, I looked at this and I thought, this can't be beat really. I'm hoping, so we'll take it out of the box in a minute, we'll have a look. I'll explain to you why I went for it and what I was thinking when I bought it. I also got the Woodturners Sharpening Package. So for the price, like I say, I couldn't beat it. It's like a Tormek for all the world, but the Tormek with the Wood Sharpeners Package was nearly €1,000. And I was also looking at the Robert Sorby Pro Edge, that was €475. This was €290 and €50 for the Woodturners package. And for all the features and functions that this thing seems to have, and the reviews I've seen online about it, it seems to be a pretty good machine. And for that money, with all the things it can do, especially the fact that I'm into woodworking as well as wood turning, it'll do my chisels, my plane blades, and all that stuff, axes, knives, everything. I'm hoping. So I'm hoping it's a decent tool. I have a bunch of record power tools already, and none of them have ever let me down. You know, just stayed out. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I have no affiliation to anybody. This is my own hard-earned cash that I have to go out and spend on this. And it was the budget that dictated why I went for this in the finish. I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend on my hobby. It is a hobby after all, everything I do in here and share with you guys. So to spend €1,000 on Tormek just was a non-runner for me. So a Tormek equivalent or a record power WG250 10-inch whetstone, that's what I went for. So let's get this thing out of the box. I'll shut up now and we'll open it. Okay, let's get everything out of this box, and I'll try and keep this interesting. So we'll just whip it all out and see what we get. Okay, so we have quite a heavy set of instructions. That's a couple of different languages. So we don't want that, we want this one. Drop it on the floor. So yeah, I'll have to go through this and see the technique for sharpening everything. So we have some Auto-Sol metal polish, which has fallen out of the box. That's just Auto-Sol, you've probably seen that a million times before, but that's for prepping the leather strap. You put that onto it. There's the drawer, I believe, for the stone. There's one of the guides. Again, I'll get all this unpacked quickly and we'll go through it. That is the angle finder and the other angle finder. There's two of them. This, I believe, is the diamond flattening jig. So it comes with its own diamond jig for keeping that stone nice and flat, so I'll take that straight out in a minute. There's the large flat clamp or guide. That's for your plane blades and knives and all that kind of stuff. Wet shown sharpening system. There's a little CD, DVD. Yeah, a little DVD on how to use everything, which is nice. The machine is stuck to this. There we go. It's a pretty hefty bit of kit. It's all metal with plastic on the side. That's metal inside and plastic outside. So that's our strop. There's our water trough. And there's our guide arm. Doesn't seem to be too bad. It's not overly expensive. The weld is not great on it there. I wouldn't say that first impressions. That could be made a little bit nicer. The thread and the adjustment nut, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm not expecting extremely good engineering for this kind of price, but I'm hoping it's going to be a good tool. Okay, let's get the water stone out. Oh my God. Okay, that does it. Okay, there is our 10-inch water stone, and this is a 220 grit, I believe. And when you put the block on it, it becomes 320 grit. So we'll go through that in a minute. Let me get this thing assembled now. I'll get back to you. Right, we have everything out and unpacked, and we have the stone on the machine and it's set up ready to go. So I'll take you through that in a second, but here's what you get with it. You get your stone grater, so you have a smooth side and a coarse side, and that's just for setting the grit on the stone. You can change it from 250 to 320, I believe, straightforward enough. There is your large flat clamp, so for your plain blades and stuff. You have an angle setting tool here. So set the angles on your tools. This is the diamond honing tool. So this is for setting or flattening the stone when it gets out of shape. So if you put a curve on your stone, it's pretty useless. This just runs across it. Here's the jig that runs with it. That sits under that, and you can re-flatten your stone. So that's handy enough. And they also give you a little angle finder. And I'll be honest with you, this looks like something that came out of a Christmas cracker. It's not great. I don't know if the camera will focus on that. You can see the numbers are very hard to read, and yeah, it's a little bit cheaply made, so I'm not overly impressed with the angle finder, but hopefully it does the job. There's a few little things I've noticed off the bat with the machine. I'll take you through it now, and yeah, it's not instilling me with confidence. Let's just put it that way. Okay, here's a quick look at the machine itself. Now, this is just going to be my initial impressions, and this is not a review. The review will come later once I get a couple of months use under this, but this is just an unboxing and first impressions. And first impressions are a little bit dodgy, if I have to say so myself. Here's the leather belt. You can see how this is fixed on here, and you can see the glue. There's all hard glue here where it's joined. That's not great. The decals are already coming off, and it's only out of the box. The dials feel a bit like lucky bag dials, if I'm honest, but as long as they work, I don't mind. It's the same on the back here. You can see the wheel diameter gauge here. That's just a little decal, and it's already kind of peeling off. That's not going to last too long. We have a torque setting here for the motor, which is one of the reasons I bought this. It has a torque setting and a speed control. But when I saw what the torque setting was, it's a little bit disappointing. So how the motor operates, I'll just take off the leather honing wheel and show you. So we have a rubber wheel in here. There's the shaft of the motor. That runs against the rubber wheel and essentially turns it. So this bites into the rubber wheel, and that's what drives your motor, or that's what drives both your wheels. And how the torque setting works then is the motor, it pushes the motor into the rubber wheel. So it's a fairly cheap screw. It's only threaded through the frame, and I have to say that doesn't impress me too much. That's kind of concerning. You're just driving a screw into the side of the motor in order to keep it pressed against that wheel. Now, I'm sure it works, but as a mechanism, that is cheap as chips. Even the screw doesn't feel great. I don't know how long that handle is going to last on that screw. Here's the screw itself. I'll give you a close-up of the mechanism and you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, there's a quick look at what I'm talking about. So you can see it's just a screw threaded through the frame, which you drive into the side of the motor. And yeah, it's not great in my book. It's pretty wobbly. I don't know how long the threads will last in there. That frame is fairly thin, so yeah, I don't know. I'm not overly impressed with that now, guys. But I mean, it's a simple machine. All these water wheels they're essentially just a motor onto a rubber drive wheel, and it's just turning a big water stone. So maybe I'm asking for too much, I don't know, but that doesn't seem great to me. Okay, we have the machine assembled now, and I'm over my initial disappointment of the fit and finish. It's pretty solid otherwise than those few little examples that I showed you. So the tool rest is on, that's good and solid. It mounts solidly to the machine, which is important, that's good. The water trough is on, and that's adjustable. It's easy to put on and off. It just clicks on, and you can raise that up as the water stone begins to get smaller as you remove that material. You have a top mount tool rest here, so you work the machine from this side, so you will have the stone move towards your cutting edge and pull water up onto it. So you will use your chisels, your plane blades, your axes, your knives, your scissors, all that kind of stuff will be worked from the top here. You can drop it to the back, and that's also a solid mount, which is good. And you can use all your wood turning tools from here and have the stone move away from your cutting edge. And one of the reasons I went with a water stone is because it keeps the cutting edge cool. So I watched a lot of videos, a lot of people recommended them. With the bench grinders and the linishers, you can heat that edge, and if you heat the edge too much, you will ruin the temper on the blade, and you will cause the steel to soften, and then it won't hold an edge. So one way you can be sure that's not going to happen is to keep cooling it with water. It's a little bit slower to sharpen, but you know, you won't damage your edge. So that's one of the reasons I went for it. It's nice and simple and easy to use. The motor itself seems good and smooth, and it has an RPM control. That's one of the reasons I went for this machine as well. You can control the speed, so you have from 90 RPM all the way up to 150 RPM. Again, it seems pretty smooth. So your low RPM for doing some fine work, a high RPM if you want to remove a lot more material quicker, and also as the stone changes size, as it begins to shrink down, as you remove that material, you can keep a constant speed by upping the RPM. A larger stone moving at the same RPM as a smaller stone is actually travelling at a far greater speed. You'll know that from your wood turning. So you can change the RPM to keep a constant speed, which is nice. That's a nice little feature. So yeah, other than that, we have a drawer at the back here where we keep our the honing stone. So again, you can change the grit of the stone from 250 to 320, I believe. And you can put the rest of the accessories in there and close it up. Handle seems solid enough. It's a heavy little machine with a stone on it. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's take a look at the wood sharpeners, or the Woodturners sharpening package. Let's have a look at that now. Okay, so here's our Woodturners sharpening package. And again, this was extremely reasonably priced. It only cost me €50. And when you look at the rest of the sharpening, or the Woodturners packages for the rest of the tools, that's very cheap. It doesn't seem to be too badly made. So we have our leather profiled honing wheel here. And you have the extension for that, so I'll put that on now in a minute. You also have the short tool jig, so you can use this just to rest against your bar, and you can turn things like your roughing gouges and stuff like that straight on, and just set your angle and turn, work away. Then you have your tool rest, which is here. So again, skew chisels, scrapers, all that kind of stuff. Set the angle. You can put this, your parting tools, all that stuff can go against this. That's your tool rest. Then you have your gouge jig, which is this one here. So you can change the angle. By changing this angle, you will increase the length of your wings. So if you want a really swept back wing on your gouges, you can do it with this. That guy he goes onto the bar, that sits in here, and that's how you turn. You've probably seen it already. The motion that you use to sharpen your gouges. So yeah, it's cast aluminum. I imagine it's very lightweight. Seems solid enough. So I'll try these out. There we go. Okay, there you go. That has been my unboxing and first impressions of this record powered WG250 water wheel sharpening system, complete with the Woodturners sharpening jigs. Now, I'm not going to do a demonstration on this today or do a full review on it. I've literally just picked this up today. It's my first time seeing it. I just wanted to give you guys an initial impression, let you know that I have actually got a sharpening system in the shop now. So I'm going to learn how to use this myself. There's no point in me standing here pretending I know what I'm doing when I'm sharpening tools. I have to get this down. Then I'll show you guys and I'll let you know how the tools perform. And so in maybe a month's time or a couple of months' time, I'll do a full review on this machine, let you know how it's holding up and if it's going to stand the test of time. So, reason I bought it, again, it's a water wheel. I can sharpen a lot more than just my Woodturners tools on it. So I wasn't specifically purely looking for a Woodturners sharpening system, although that's one of the reasons I wanted to get it, was because I had no way of sharpening my lathe tools. But this will do all my other tools as well. So I'm looking forward to trying out my plane blades and my chisels on it. Some axes and some knives too. I have a few knives that I like to keep sharp, so I'll try them on it. Again, it's a water wheel, keeps the edge cool. Its price was a big factor for me. I didn't have the budget for a Tormac, and I thought this was a good option with all its features and functions. I'm a little bit disappointed in the fit and finish, if I'm honest. And I have a bunch of record power tools, and one of the reasons I bought this was because it was a record power tool. My pillar drill is bomb proof. That's record power. That's all cast iron. Everything on it is cast iron, and it is literally bomb proof. My bandsaw is bulletproof as well, and the lathe that I bought recently is also solidly made. And I also have a record power DX4000 dust extractor. I've done a review on all of them, and that thing is one of the best tools I've ever bought. So I have yet to be disappointed by a record power tool. But this one, my initial impressions out of the box is the fit and finish could be better. The decals are just kind of crappy stickers. That They call it a torque adjuster. It's a torque adjuster. It's a screw. That was pretty funny when I saw that. The angle finder, yeah, it looks like it came out of a Christmas cracker, so that's a little bit disappointing. But when it's assembled and the machine is functioning, I hope it's going to be fine. It feels solid when everything is together now. It feels solid, so that's a good sign. And the jigs and stuff seem pretty good. So yeah, that's a positive note. So I'm going to get some water into this now. I'm going to have a little practice on it. And yeah, we'll see what I can do. Hopefully this will sharpen my wood turning tools, because that's what I really needed to do. I have some other sharpening systems for my plane blades and chisels. So yeah, that's it, guys. Comments and questions below. Thumbs up if this has been informative or if you've enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. There'll be more of this kind of shenanigans going on, tool reviews, woodworking, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, I'm going to have a play on this now. So take it easy, and I'll see you next time.